What's up guys, B-Rob here and welcome to episode 9 of the Foods to Fight series. Today I'm going to be discussing high triglycerides. I'll be right back. So welcome back. This is episode 9 of the Foods to Fight series, high triglycerides. And so before I go any further, I just want to ask that you go ahead and click that subscribe button, and then right after you do that, go ahead and hit that little bell. Because when you do that, that will let you know that you are in the community that are getting the alerts for every video that I put out. So that way you won't miss any of this useful information that I'm giving to you. So thank you very much if you've already done that. And if you're new to the Foods to Fight series, please go right here. See right there? That's the intro video that just popped up right there. That tells you about what Foods to Fight series is all about. And feel free to go and look at the other episodes of the Foods to Fight series, and make sure you come back and watch this episode so you can learn more about high triglycerides. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into high triglycerides now. So there was one point in time that I had this one physical several years ago that I walked in, thought everything was fine, just to realize that my labs came back where I had kind of borderline high triglycerides. So I had a discussion with my doctor, and basically after a series of questions, we realized that I was eating way too much ice cream. I don't know if I was stress eating at the time, or just thought that because I was in really good shape, it was the summer, that I could just eat all this ice cream that I wanted because I was working out and exercising. But it showed up on my panels and showed that I was borderline high, and she said stop doing that. So I did. So what I ended up doing was make sure that I stopped doing that. Went back in and got tested. Everything was fine again, and everything was good. So that's my personal story experience with high triglycerides. So I want to go ahead and just talk about exactly what high triglycerides are. So triglycerides are responsible for the energy that gets you in between meals, right? So in between your meals, triglycerides are in your body, and they're used to give you energy to move about and exercise and do all those things that you do. But what happens is when you don't move, or when you have too many more than your actions, then they're stored as fat in your fat cells. All right, so they are considered a lipid, and so they are considered a fat, so they are stored, but they are derived from carbs, having too many carbs. Okay, and you may find that you're seeing triglycerides tested as part of your cholesterol test. Now they're all lipids, but they're different. They have different functions. So it's very important that you understand triglycerides are the energy that gets you from one meal to the next, keep you moving in between until you refuel again. If you don't move, then they store it as fat. And cholesterol is actually used to, your body actually makes cholesterol in order to support a bunch of different things, like making hormones, or making vitamin D, or building cell walls, or building the cells, right? So, and we all know that too much of bad cholesterol means that you're probably clogging your arteries. There's probably some plaque buildup there. I'm assuming that same plaque is probably what builds cells, right? Cell walls, but instead it's forming up in your arteries at this point because you just have too much of it, right? So, and then not enough of the HDL, the high density lipids, which actually cleans out your veins, like it pulls the sludge. It's kind of like Drano in my head. That's what I picture when you look at HDL versus LDL. But this is about high triglycerides. So what does that mean? What does high mean? So normal is about up to like 150. I think it's got to kind of glance at my notes here. It's milligrams per deciliter, right? So it's normal is less than 150. Borderline high is 150 to 199, and then high is 200 to 499, and then very high is more than 500, right? So even though today I'm going to talk about some foods that can help you lower your high triglycerides, it's very important that you understand that doctors recommend that if you are over 500, that you probably need a special diet. So you would need someone like a nutritionist or someone that specializes in that type of diet to give you a special diet. So it's very important that you do understand that you need some medical attention if you're over 500, okay? And you may need some even if you're borderline. You always check with your doctor first. All right, so let me go ahead. In order to combat your high triglycerides, your goal should make your plate look like this. See this? So that's what your plate should look like. And so I'm going to give you basically the foods that I'm going to recommend. These are foods that I eat. But also, if you can think back to that plate that I just showed you, your foods, I'm giving you a food that match each of those parts of that plate. All right, so first I'm going to talk about, let's get into the protein. The protein that I choose is salmon. And the reason I chose salmon is because it's high in omega-3 fats. And I know we talked about triglycerides is stored as fat, but the omega-3 fats are good fats. These are the fats that actually promotes the good cholesterol, the HDL, the one that pulls the sludge out, right? And also it also has a lot of benefits for brain development and things like that. So omega-3 are the good fats, and so you want the proteins and the fats that are in the fatty fish. Salmon is my choice for my go-to for fatty fish. When you go to LEANWellonline.com, I actually let you know in the blog, the Foods That Fight blog on high triglycerides, exactly how I eat my salmon. Right, so that's the protein. Let's move to the starchy, basically the starch. So for that, I chose brown rice. Brown rice is one of my favorite complex carbs. And I do say complex carbs because it's very important that you understand that, and based on if your doctor is not giving you a special diet where you can't eat carbs, but if he didn't do that or she didn't do that, if you can eat carbs, choose complex carbs because they break down a little bit slower than simple carbs. And so it lasts in your body a little bit more, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar, and it doesn't create more triglycerides in your system, right? So when that happens, then that means it all turns to fat. So you want that starch to be something like a brown rice is my choice. And then moving to the vegetable, my vegetable of choice is broccoli. And the reason I like broccoli, well, I like the way it tastes first. But you want to look for something that's high in fiber, and this is also going to give you more complex carbs out of a vegetable. If you got to take your carbs in, you really want to try to take them from a complex source. I'm going to say that again, but vegetables are really, you can eat a whole ton of vegetables and still not really get enough carbs that's going to spike your insulin, okay? Especially the right vegetables. So broccoli is the choice. And another reason that I like broccoli and brown rice is because they both have fiber. And when it comes to high triglycerides, fiber is very important for your diet, okay? So I want to circle back around. There's something else with triglycerides that I wanted to let you know. High triglycerides can also be caused by a few things. They can be caused by alcohol. It can be caused, that can cause your triglycerides to rise. Also certain things like steroids or beta blockers, some HIV medication. There's some other things out there that, some of it you may have to take for whatever reasons. Beta blockers, HIV medications, so maybe some other medications I haven't named. You may be a drinker and not realize that that's why your triglycerides are going up. So I want to give you the information to help you. All this information is based on scholarly references. As you probably know if you've watched the intro to the Foods to Fight series video. But so those are the three. If you go to LEANWellonline.com, I actually tell you how I eat these foods, like the favorite way if you need some ideas. I'm sure that you've probably, if you do like these foods, you've probably had them in some capacity. But these are 3 foods that you could eat that may decrease your high triglycerides, right? Also, I do want to tell you too that this is the Foods That Fight series. And so I'm telling you ways that you can eat because we all have to eat, right? So ways that you can eat to reduce. But I do want to say that you do want to get moving, exercise, and so that's a whole nother component to making sure that you lower those levels, okay? So hopefully this video helped you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please go to LEANWell Online and look at the blog. This blog, I have a blog where I give you actually more information, but also make sure you heart the blog over there. And please like, share, subscribe right here to this video and this channel. This is B-Rob.